Hobby woke up earlier than Van. He looked at her sleeping face. Her soft snoring made him chuckle. As the last night the couple got drunk badly, he actually could figure out easily the cause of his strong headache. He got up from the bed and decided to go to the kitchen to prepare the hangover soup. After washing his face, he went to the kitchen to prepare the hangover soup. It was early in the morning, so Dawn was more quiet than usual. The sounds during the preparation process of the hangover soup made Wen awake. Wen opened her eyes, and the very next moment, all she could feel a strong headache and a solid menstrual cramp. She couldn't decide for a while which was more painful. She curled herself into a ball and grabbing her own head, she almost cried in pain. Wen opened her eyes, hearing the sound of the doorknob. Hobby walked into the room with 2 bowls of soup. Get up, champ, and drink this. Wen tried to look calm and sat on the bed. Hobby handed her the bowl. Gulp it down in 3, 2, 1. The soup wasn't bad. It tasted pretty decent. Hobby placed the empty bowls on the tray and wiped Van's face with the wet tissue before he wiped his own face. He laid down beside her casually and patted on her shoulder gently. Do you need some naproxen tablet? Hobby noticed Van's face turned red immediately. Van, no. Hobby, are you sure? You are weaker now. I guessed you were gonna have a painful one. Stop, I'm okay. Hobby noticed that Van was embarrassed as the topic was her menstruation, which kind of triggered Hobby as a gynaec. Hobby, okay, fine, but I must remind you, Van, I'm a gynaec, and if being a medical student, if you were embarrassed to discuss about menstruation with a gynaec, no. Let's consider you when you are not a math student, you are an art student or a science major. If I would be your husband, suppose we had an arranged marriage, with whom would you like to discuss and share your pain and discomfort? When? Maybe with you? I just guessed that we must be in the same department. Hobby was triggered even more by the instant answer by Van. Hobby, I see. Let me introduce today's schedule. Wow, practical classes after lunch. Van, obstetrics and gynecology, it means. Hobby, see you in the lab, dear husband wifey. Van, if I say I've forgotten everything. Hobby, oops, you have spilled out in the wrong situation. But thank you for saying this at home. You have saved yourself from embarrassing in front of your classmates. I guess I now get up and get ready. Quickly, we're still on time though. Hobby left the room angrily. When got up from the bed, and as she stood up on the floor, she could feel a massive amount of blood flowing out of her body. She could feel the wetness of the fully soaked center napkin. A solid cramp just heated on her abdomen. She had to gulp down the pain and headed towards the washroom. When took a shower to feel fresh. Actually, she was scared as she knew that her words have already triggered Hobby. When walked out of the washroom and headed towards the bedroom. Just put on this. One could feel goosebumps as she heard those words. One turned around and saw Hobby holding a menstrual cup. It's gonna be a hectic day. You might not get a chance to go to the washroom and change your napkins in every 2 hours, he said. When I know, Hobby, put on then. I'm waiting for you at the outside. When I know you were angry because of me, but believe me, I know the procedure, but still I don't dare to. Please let me choose napkins this time. Hobby, I knew useless to request you anything, and I'm not angry on you. Get ready quickly. When we still have some time, I'll try to put it on. Wan raised her hands to take the tray. She confidently walked towards the washroom. After a few minutes, Wan peeked out of the washroom. Hobby was busy with his laptop. Wan, you know, failure is the pillar of success. Hobby looked at her. I know. When I couldn't fix this properly into me. Hobby, we'll be late, but we're still on time. Don't need to push yourself. Go, get ready. He sighed and walked out of the room. Looking at the clock, When hurriedly got ready. Time skips after the lunch in the theory class of the fourth year batch at KU. In the class, as Professor Hosok entered into the classroom, the pin drop silence was noticed. Hobby, good afternoon, everyone. Let's have a little discussion on the previous lesson before we proceed to our today's topic. In the previous class, we have studied about fetal demise in the cases of multifetal pregnancy or twin pregnancy. Please, anyone give a brief discussion on that? Anyone? Van roughly checked her position. No, it's next to impossible for him to find out me, she muttered. She knew Hobby would never gonna point out her so directly just because she was his wife. From any personal point of view, he would never do that. And Van was damn sure about it. It's not that she didn't know the answers, but the fact is she was a little awkward to answer him. She shied as one of her classmates answered. Sir, vanishing twin in the first trimester is harmless. If loss occurs in second trimester, the risk of death and damage to survivor is limited to monochorionic twin due to vascular anastomosis. Single fetal death during late second and early third trimester presents the greatest risk to the surviving twin. Risk of preterm birth is increased. After a single fetal death in monochorionic pregnancy, the risk to the surviving twin of death or neurological abnormality at 15 to 26% respectively. Hobby quickly looked around and found Wayne while listening the students answer. They shared a quick eye contact, and the next moment Wayne realized that no doubt trouble is waiting for her. Hobby has identified her position in the class. One tried her best to concentrate in the class, while Hobby's eyes were repeatedly on Wen's attentivity, which made her a little nervous during the class. She guessed that there was no way for her to get rid of. The class was about to over. Wen's mind had just started to relax, but what she feared ultimately happened. Fifth row, seventh desk from the left, all she heard. One stood up and nervously spoke. Yes, sir. Hobby, can you give a brief abbreviation of today's topic? It was asked to her. It was Hobby's unique way to make students attentive during his class. Her legs were trembling. She could recall everything she had spoken in the morning. Hobby, Lee Van, right? You have only 2 minutes. If you don't answer, meet me in my cabin. Van started answering. Today's topic was parental care and antepartum management for multifetal pregnancy, twin pregnancy. All women with a twin pregnancy should be offered an ultrasound examination between 11 plus 0 week to 13 plus 6 weeks of gestation to assess the fetal viability, gestational age and chronicity, and to exclude major congenital malformations. Hobby. What would be the crown rump length? When 45 to 84 millimeter? Hobby. Good. Please continue. Van's heart started beating faster. She continued. Chronicity should be determined at the time of the twin pregnancy is detected by the ultrasound based upon the number of placental masses. the appearance of the membrane attachment to the placenta and membrane thickness. This scan is best performed before 14 weeks of gestation. Women with monochorionic twin who wish to have aneuploidy screening should be offered nuchal translucency measurements in conjunction with first trimester serum markers. Combined screening test at 11.0 weeks to 13.6 weeks of gestation. Hobby. Tell me something about the prediction of preterm birth. 1. Cranial length of measurement by ultrasonography. Less than 25 mm at 24 weeks. Best predictor of preterm birth. Greater than 35 mm at 24 weeks. Low risk of preterm birth. Hobby. Good. What are the prevention of that? 1. Simple. Routine hospitalization, restrictions of activities, and rest at home. Progesterone therapy like weekly injection of 17A hydroxyprogesterone caparate is not shown to be effective for multifetal gestation. Vaginal progesterone therapy, micronized progesterone, no certain benefit. Hobby, very good. And the class ending bell rang. Hobby, Livan, you have impressed me. You will be my assistant for next week. Meet me at my cabin, quick. Hobby left the class and all the students sighed in relief. Wen almost cried as she heard that she's gonna be Dr. Hosok's assistant for next week again, but now she had no choice. There was no way to step back. Wen left the class and hurried towards Hobby's cabin. Wen knocked at the door of Hobby's cabin. May I come in, sir? Yes, please. Hobby replied immediately. Wen entered into the cabin, and the next moment she could feel Hobby's chin on his shoulder. Thank you for qualifying with excellence to be my assistant. I didn't want nobody except you. Wen, aren't we in hospital? Aren't you my professor now? Hobby, I remember you have told me that you want to create new moments. It might seem to be new or uncomfortably awkward for you, but believe me, it was my routine to relax on your shoulder. When in the hospital, where almost nobody knows I'm your wife. Hobby took her into his embrace. I have never interfered in your decision of disclosing your identity and marital status. And today morning you were moody a little. Might be because of one broke his embrace and picked up her phone from the pocket. I'm in trouble. Let me call you. Bobby, what happened? I guess Jew is assisting Dr. Yungi at OT. When, what? I'm doomed? I don't know. Hobby, what happened? Can you tell me? When I have used my spare hobby while scrolling down his phone. Come on, use your instincts and find out where you have kept all your favorite napkins. Wen's face turned red. She lowered her head and walked towards the drawers. Hobby was still lost in his phone. When I first met you, he stopped after saying this much. When, what happened then? Hobby, nothing. I suddenly remembered just. I stopped cause you might be embarrassed. When I'll not be. Please tell me. Hobby, two conditions. One, you have to find the last sanitary napkin which used to be your favorite, and second, you should switch to menstrual cups. When opened a drawer randomly and she found her favorite brand's napkin. This is, she told him with joy. Hobby, so? Do you want to hear what happened when we first met? When, yeah. Hobby, then go and get changed quickly. It's time for the lab, and after that, join me at the evening dance. When? Then, when will you tell me about the hobby? After the fulfillment of the second condition. One sighed and went to the washroom to get changed. After that, they headed towards the lab together.